Konrad. How are you doing?
Hey, pretty well. How about you, Matt?
Yeah, I'm doing fine, thanks. Could you say your name and what you do for a profession?
Sure. My name is Konrad Wilk, and I used to do kernel engineering in the Linux kernel, and nowadays I'm a manager, a middle manager to be exact. So mostly doing non-engineering work.
So, how did you hear about the Zero to ASIC course?
I missed actually the first one. I saw it at, I think Hacker News had an article about it. And I was like, oh my gosh, I really want to get onto it. And then a whole bunch of other things were happening. And I was like, okay, I'll get on the next bus. And then I saw that, you had the class and it was the first one. I was like, oh, I'm going to miss it. And I saw all the tickets being sold. I was like, oh man, this is really hot stuff. So then I jumped on the second one. I was like, oh my gosh, I got in. And it was perfect. It was just the right timing too. So.
Great. So, what made you want to do the course?
I love learning and I love playing with toys. And I also just wanted to, I mentioned earlier, I worked on the kernel, I work in Linux kernel, I did a whole bunch of stuff there. And then I've been doing more of, higher level things as managers do. And then I was like, you know what? This is time to kind of go back into the roots and kind of get deep. And I was like, CPU. And I saw, your class, and I was like, holy cow, I can make my own CPU. I mean, come on. Who can make, it is kind of fantastic making your own CPU. So I was like, okay, I got to jump on that train, get onto it and learn it. And that's how I started. And I just really wanted to learn it and kind of understand the secrets of how you make a CPU and what's that all things that go into it to actually build up a CPU. And that's why I wanted to do it.
And did the course meet your expectations?
Absolutely. It totally did. I loved the layout. You did a perfect job, Matt, with the beginning, kind of building up the foundation and then getting into the really depths of it, having everything kind of lined up. And I love the walkthroughs. Like at the end, I did the work and then I look back and like, maybe there's a better way. And in your videos, you kind of point out some other interesting things as well. So that was really helpful. So I loved the course. It was laid out awesome. And it taught me everything. And then I came back. There were some questions I had later on about gate levels. And sure enough, they were right there answered. And I missed at the beginning, came back and they had there. So you kind of, did all the levels that made it really nice and succinct. So thank you.
What was the part of the course that you enjoyed the most?
I can tell you which part I didn't enjoy the most, and that was struggling with magic. and partially, I think it was also my setup. I have Mac, so middle button doesn't work, and I figured that out and got that working. And then that tool is a little bit takes used to. Let's put it this way. But once you get to do that, it kind of makes total sense of why it's designed that way. So I was like, okay, cool. I think I actually enjoyed all of the the groupings and all of them. It was kind of nice to get at the end, like getting through and like, oh my gosh, I'm right at the stage at the end where things are done and I can push my submission and it builds, it creates a GGS file and here is the die of it. I even went to print out a picture of it, of the die.
You can join the club.
Yeah, pretty much. Much smaller, but yeah, I have it in my notebook.
Cool. Would you recommend the course to somebody else?
Oh yeah, no, I totally have. I've been like, this is really awesome. You get to really put your experience in Verilog, learn how to do it, and then dive into like, okay, you know how the code works, but then actually getting into the nitty gritty details of how that builds up the gates and the constraints of physical designs and how that all happens, and then you actually look at the waves of every end gates and how they all correspond and figure out, oh my gosh, they seem to go randomly off. And the best part, of course, is finding bugs. I mean, I know people don't like it, but when you find a bug, and Matt, you helped me with that one, and just like getting down to like why it's busted is really helpful because, you learn, I learn by making mistakes and then fixing them, and that really reinforces it. So I was really thrilled with that and had fun.
Great. And are you hyped for the MPW2 submission?
Yes, so I did as Matt, you pointed out, you have like a group submission. My design is It's pretty pathetic. I mean, so I had initial goals of this SHA-1 or SHA-256 because, that's useful, right? I do it, you take packages, you verification, all that. And then I realized, I only got so much time to get this done. So I should focus on something that is small and suitable. So I was like, Fibonacci. I mean, who doesn't like numbers, right? So I put the number and I made a little thing. It's small enough, but it fits in. And there's no point of using the whole die. So the part of what you offer as part of it is this, 16 different GDS inside of a bigger GDS. So I jumped on that one, and I'll share with other folks who are also part of the course. So we all have the same die, and we can actually later on play with it, which I was also excited. So I'm looking forward to seeing everybody else's submissions and what they do, because it's kind of neat what other people have come up with. But yeah, it was kind of neat to put it on there and seeing it there. I think I'll feel wasteful if I had the whole die, but at the same point, having this way is like a perfect mix of like, okay, I got my thing, and other people have it, so it's not like I am just using a little tiny bit of the die. Though my next is, I finally did get to my SHA-1 design, and I did it, and I'm now going through it, and my gosh, it's huge. So I got to figure out how to make that work.
Well, I mean, if you can fit it into the whole space, then you could make a personal application. But even your small application is still interesting because so far nobody that I know has used the IRQs. So it's great that we've got your design in the group submission so that we can test that all out, because that's a new feature of MPW2.
Sweet. Yeah. I wanted to try like there's a wishbone bus on it. I was like, okay, let me put a command, way to probe it, set it up, change. You think about Fibonacci, right? You just put out numbers. But I decided to put clocks in it, so the clocks change the counter on the Fibonacci. You can stop. You can, just trying to get everything, learn how this whole thing works. So once I get the die, I can actually see how well it works in practice.
And when we get the chip back, we can put 40 odd LEDs on the outputs and then see the visualization of the numbers scrolling through.
That's right. With a video camera to capture it fast.
Yeah. Great. Okay, Konrad, thanks very much for your time. Is there anything else you want to add?
No, I just, as earlier mentioned, I've been telling folks, hey, this is really awesome. And I thank you, Matt, for making the course available and putting it such a nice, succinctly way. And just, this is great. So thank you. Keep on doing it. And have a fantastic week.
Thanks very much. Great news. Okay. Cheers, Konrad.
All right. Cheers.
Bye.